is very often people ask, is Buddhism a religion or is Buddhism a philosophy of life? And if you ask me if Buddhism is a religion, I can only answer that by making another question, which is, what is a religion? Okay. Because if we divide religions by monotheistic and polytheistic, Buddhism doesn't talk about one God or many gods and doesn't talk about the non-existence of God. So God is not a central figure in Buddhism. So basic Buddhism is not a monotheistic religion and it's not a polytheistic religion either. But on the other side, Buddhism has many aspects which are very much into the religion aspects, like the prayers and the faith and many other things which are very much religious. So, in this way, we can say when we think about religion and we divide into polytheistic and monotheistic, we can say basically Buddhism is a philosophy of life. But when we go to look, there are many other aspects which are like religious aspects in Buddhism itself. But first of all, when we talk, for me, when I say a religion, I mean a method to develop our own spiritual path. Because we need to make a very clear distinction in the very beginning, which is the distinction between spiritual path, religion, and the religious institution. These are three different things. Sometimes we judge the religion by judging the religious institution. But they are two different things. So on the basis we have the spiritual path, which is basically the process of development of each one of us, of developing our own inner qualities, of eliminating our inner defilements. And this is a need of human being, it's not a choice. If we take care of that need or not, it's our choice, but it's a need that we all have actually. Okay. The religion is the method that we use to develop this spiritual path, our own spirituality. And we can have, there are so many religions, and each one of them has a different approach, a different way of being, which adapt mostly to the different persons. But when we have two people that truly follow their own religion with sincerity, in a correct way, and they meet, there is no conflict. Why? Because they are both following a spiritual path, which is basically the same. So this makes me remember when there was in the life of Saint Francis, there was a moment in which he went to the Crusades, and as he got to the Crusades, the idea that he had is like, oh, these people are without faith, we need to show them the faith, the path of God, so that's why he went there. But when he went to see Saladin, which was the head of the Muslim there, and he was like, everybody talked very bad about him, he had so much fear, and he was a person with no faith and so on, completely bad person, that was the image that was given about him, justifying the war. When he went alone with his disciple, with a lot of fear walking behind him, he got there, he was quite well received, and he stayed talking for hours and became best friends with him. And as they talked a lot about God and other things and spirituality. So he came back saying, there is no reason for us to do war, because we don't need to convert them into anything. They follow this path just as we do. Just they use different names. But there is no reason to convert anyone because they follow the same path. This is why? Because he truly recognized spiritual path more than the formal way and the method that is being used for that, which is the religion. Okay? So, it is very important for us first to understand spiritual path, then we have the religion, and then there is the institutional organization, which is the religious organization, that is necessary to organize the religion in order for it to be able to live a long time. We can see here, like, Lama Gangchen is very anti-institutional, generally speaking. But inevitably you need to start making small rules and organize things, otherwise things don't work after some time, as soon as they start growing. We human beings, we need to organize ourselves somehow. That's why we get institutions. The important thing is that the institution cannot become more important than the religion, and the religion cannot become more important than the spiritual path. So for me, the first point is to talk about the spiritual path, so we can understand really what the religion is about. Okay? As we ask what is actually our spirituality, trying to go directly to the point, okay? As we don't have so much time to go around now. What happens is that anything that we listen, anything that we see, anything that we perceive is a reflection of ourselves. External reality does exist. I'm not saying that external reality doesn't exist. Huh? We can see we are sitting in the same room, we can touch the same object, we can see each other, so reality does exist very clearly. But each one of us is totally incapable of perceiving anything independently of one's own self. So anything that I see, anything that I listen, I am totally influenced by the education I have received, the experiences I had, the culture in which I live and I grow, by the traumas that I have accumulated, my own mentality, by everything that I am, everything that built up my own personality. I am totally influenced by all of this. Like in this very right moment, as I talk, what arrives in your ears are not words, but simply sounds. What we do to the sounds that arrive to us, we attribute meaning to it. No? If I start talking in a language that you don't understand, this becomes more clear, no? I just said the same phrase in Tibetan, okay? So, what happened is that when we talk a language that we don't understand, and I got this click in my mind coming back from Holland one time, and in the plane they were talking Dutch. And I was with a friend, and the friend said, look, he had this insight, and we talked, and it was so nice saying, look, whenever you see someone talking, it's so clear, it's just sounds coming. There are no meaning, because when someone talking Dutch, I can't understand anything, basically. Very few words, maybe around some idea. But so what happened is that when we someone talk, basically what arrive in our ears? Sounds. What we do to the sounds? We attribute meaning. So what is a language? The convention of sounds and meanings. Okay. At the same time, when we see something, what appears to our eyes? Colors and shapes. Nothing more. One time I was giving a lesson in Milan, and to a small kids from a school. There is some schools that bring the kids to the center. And there was a girl, I remember very clear, she was like around 6 years old. And she looked to me, and behind her was an image of Buddha, standing Buddha. And she looked and she asked, who is that woman behind you? And she asked, who's that woman with a blue helmet? Then if you look to the image of Buddha, behind that. I never understood truly why Buddha's hair is like this. Actually, does it look like a blue helmet? Somehow, yes. The clothes that Buddha is wearing, in our own culture, they are more male or female? More female, somehow. So the girl was right. On her own culture, on her own understanding, she was just the image that appeared to her eyesight represents the image of a woman. For me, represents something else. But this is because when the image appeared to my eyes, I give a different value. What I want to say is that there is nothing that we experience that doesn't go through our own self. It's like if we have a filter and we experience each and everything through that filter. Okay, I'm simplifying it a lot. It's a little bit, I'm not being that precise, but just to make it simple. So what happens? As I experience everything through myself, everything is a reflection of myself. So if I have conflicts within myself, I'm going to see this conflict outside. Like I remember one time, one friend, she came to me and she was complaining about her working partner. And she said, because, he's never recognizing my job and whatever I do is never enough and like this and like that. I said, okay. And then I knew a little bit both of them. So I asked her, have you ever felt like that before? In other context? And she said, since I have memory of myself, I have been feeling like this. My mother never recognized me. My father never gave importance to what I did. They never recognized me. My friends never did it. My husband never did. And my job partner doesn't do. Okay, what is in common in all these situations? Other than the fact that people were not recognizing you. You. So what happens is that if you take a person that is very unsatisfied with life, you can put a person in all different situations. Sooner or later, the person is manifesting insatisfaction. If we are, for example, very jealous, or if we are very envy, or if we have a lot of fear, it doesn't matter. If I have a lot of fear, I change places, I will still have fear. If I have a lot of anger, I can change conditions and places and people, the anger will come back again. And I'm always blaming the world. So, in the moment that we understand that whatever we perceive around that exists, but it doesn't exist for us independently of our own selves, okay? When we understand this, we start understanding the importance of taking care of what is inside. Because basically, all of us, independently of the culture, independently of the country, independently of the religion, independently of any of this, we live on a basis of one strong wish, one strong, more than a wish, is an impulse, something very deep, desire. The desire to be happy and not to suffer. We all have it. So what we most want is to be happy. And as we want so much to be happy, at least let's start doing the right things, no? Changing the external conditions, it's good, okay. We need to take care of our job. We need to take care of the family and friends. We need to take care of our body, the place where we live, the environment. All of that is wonderful and important. But if we do not take care of what is within ourselves, it's simply not enough. Because it doesn't matter where I go, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm always taking myself. And I'm always seeing reality through myself. Everywhere I go, all the time. So the spiritual path, it means basically, in a simple way, to take care, to develop our inner qualities and to take care to eliminate the inner aspects that generate suffering, such as hatred, aversion, fear, jealousy, envy, arrogance, and so on. To develop love, compassion, patience, equanimity, wisdom, just to make a few examples. So the religion is basically the method that we use in order to develop our qualities and eliminate our defilements, to develop this spiritual path. That's the role of the religion, the method that is used for it. Okay? So this is very important to understand. It's not like, I must be part of a group, I must be part of a religion. Being part of a religious group doesn't mean I am following that religion. And following a religion doesn't mean I'm taking care of my spiritual path. Okay? We can use a religion for very mundane reasons if we want. I can pray every day in order to get more money and be famous or whatever. So what happens is that, understand, why do I need to take care of what is within myself? Because everything that I experience goes through this filter. And until this filter is not clean and clear, it will always represent around. So we need to take care of it. And it's a process of cultivating it daily. Okay. When we look at this from the Buddhism perspective, okay, Buddha basically introduced it, bringing 4 main points, which we have seen this last mornings actually, but making it simple is first understanding the state in which we are. What is the situation in which we are? Which is first understanding suffering. And basically, we have initially to understand in the very beginning, there are 4 types of suffering. Then just by looking to it with clarity, it already helps a lot to make life easier actually. Because we have a physical suffering, and the physical suffering is basically made out of hunger, thirst, pain, cold, heat, okay? And normally we take care of it. So what to do to deal with physical suffering? Take well your medicines, do well your exercise, keep your body balanced, take good care of your health basically, okay? The mind helps a lot also, but need to take good care of your health. Then we try to do our best related to that. I am not the best person to talk about that. So, There are many very good people and experts that can explain us how to take good care of their health. So this is for the physical suffering. Second type of suffering, we have the material suffering. Material suffering, mostly it exists where people don't have enough. So I suffer because I don't have a place where to sleep. I suffer because I don't have enough to eat. I suffer because I cannot go with a comfortable transport to the place where I need to go. I suffer because of many different things that are needs that we have, physical, material needs that we have that cannot be fulfilled because of poverty. So, this basically is the material suffering. But it manifests also in other ways. It's basically more when we suffer because of anything that is material. Does it ever happen that we suffer because something material? We don't have what we want. Something breaks, we lose something, something is stolen or whatever. Can we suffer because of these things? If I like something, this is my beautiful cup and suddenly it breaks, can I get upset because of that? Yes, no? So, making it simple, when we talk about material suffering, there is one very simple key in order to make it much less, which is making the difference between our needs and our wants. Okay. What do I want? Wonderful, I want it. If I can get, good. If I cannot get, okay. What is my need? Let's make everything possible to get it. But we suffer a lot because very often we don't make a distinction between what is our needs and what are our wants. And basically we transform our wants in needs. Okay? And we live in a society nowadays where what I want is like a law. I must get it. And if I want and I can get it, why not? So it becomes an objective in life to get everything I want. Now, I remember some time ago I was in the airport in Milan. I think going to Holland actually. And there was a family nearby me. Mother, 2 children, and her own mother, the grandmother of the children. And then suddenly the little boy, I don't know how old he was, quite small, he starts shouting towards the mother. Like quite aggressive actually. And I was just looking, and then what have happened? The boy wanted to open something of the food they're going to have, the chips or whatsoever, and the mother opened it and didn't let the boy open. He just took the chips open, and then the boy starts screaming and saying, like if she did the most terrible thing. And what happened is that the education I got in the monastery, I would just get one slap, and it's more or less the monastery style. But in that case, what the mother did, like metaphorically speaking, but almost, she put herself in her knees and went to say sorry to the child that she didn't know that he wanted to open the chips. And I was just looking at it and I say, what are you teaching to this child? That the want is the most important thing. If I want and I don't get, I will be upset. So we grow up like this. That's what we have around us. And then if we look on the other side also, what's the consequence, what's the result of fulfilling our desire, of gaining the object of our desire? Insatisfaction. Huh? One time also together with kids, I was in Milan, a school. And it was a very nice experience. I tried it again a few years ago, like this year in Brazil. I was called to give a talk in a school, and I arrived in the school. I had no idea how was the situation and so on, and there were around 200 kids from 5 to 6 years, more or less. And I said to myself, what I do now? And as I was there with the kids, the teachers told me, you need to talk about Buddhism, 1 hour and a half. I said, okay, let's start. We talk about the Four Noble Truths, the basis of Buddhism. And I tried to explain in a very simple way. So I got to a point where I was explaining the causes of suffering in ignorance, aversion, and desire. So I was explaining desire, and I asked the kids, has it ever happened? I asked the kids, is there any toy that you really want? And all the kids, yes. We did already some friendship, so they were answering me back all together. No? So I asked, is there any toy that you want? And all of them said, yes. Has it ever happened that you got the toy that you wanted, maybe in Christmas or birthday or something like that? And they all said, yes. Were you happy? Yes. How long did your happiness last? Long or short? They looked a little bit like this, and they said, short. Do you still have the toy? Yes. Does it make you happy as before? No. Do you want another toy? All of them, yes. But then I asked, how long is the new toy going to make you happy? Long or short? And they were a little bit disappointed, but they said short. They were not special kids. We all know that since we are a kid. But the problem is that we are always changing toys because we don't know other game. We don't know other way how to play. So basically, when we are small kids, we change from one toy to the other. Then slowly we have the clothes, and then we have the image, then we have the pleasures of the body, and then we have power, and then we have the car, and then we have the house. And then when we get one house, we need two houses. Then when we get two houses that are not enough, we need to change the house. Then we need a beautiful car. And then we need a helicopter. I would love to have a helicopter, for example. It's so nice. We could have so many things, okay? Like one thing after the other. So, I was one time with this friend in Brazil, and he's a rich person, and he was in front of his private plane. And then, before entering into this small jet, he looked at me and he said, the only difference between big and small boys is the size of their toys. Because what we do, we are just changing toys and always wanting something more. And I want more, and I want more, and I want more. And what happened is that finally, when we are able to get everything we wanted materially, and everything we have, and we still are unsatisfied, then there is such a big hole that remains inside and we don't know how to fill it up. Okay, we see this so much in our society. So basically, the result of gaining the object of desire is insatisfaction. So I want something and I get it. Wonderful, let's enjoy it. I like to drink the tea and I want more tea and I get my tea. Oh, nice. Enjoy it. No tea? Okay. That's fine. I'm not going to suffer because there is no tea and I want the tea and I don't have the tea. So what I'm saying is that regarding material suffering, if we just make a clear distinction between what I want and what I need, and before going after something, I ask myself, do I want it or do I need it? And if I want it, that's okay. But then I give a different importance to it. Just I want, I can satisfy it or not. Depends of how much it costs. Not money-wise, but of emotionally, physically, materially, in all levels. So if we make this distinction, we will see that we suffer much more because we don't have what we want than because we don't have enough what we need. Okay. This is for the material suffering. Next one is the social suffering. Social suffering basically is the suffering that is created by the conflicts between people. And that's the strongest one. Even once I was talking to my mother, and she's a psychologist in Brazil, and she's specialized in working with terminal ill patients, and the patient and the family. And normally, I was talking to her, she was explaining to me that normally what would you expect a terminal ill patient that he wants to talk about? What is the main problem that a terminal ill person brings to the psychologist? How to deal with death, how to deal with the sickness, the pain, the loss, and all these things, no? Actually not. The people can be there, full of cancer, taking morphine from morning to evening. In the beginning, they come with the main object is the sickness, but truly what they want to talk as soon as they have the opportunities. My husband is not doing what he's supposed to do. My wife is like that and she shouldn't be. My son doesn't want to talk to me. My mother this. And like this we go on. Very often is our human conflicts. That is the main thing that most is heavy for us. Most conflict was most difficult thing. So here, we could go on hours and hours talking about it, but I'm going to make it brief. Okay. If we look, we suffer more because how people are, or because how we think they should be and they are not. Most of the time we suffer because how we think how people should be and they are not. So, in one way we are quite arrogant because we know how people should be. And we are the one telling everybody how they should be. And if you are not how I think you should be, you are wrong, basically. So, what happens is that whenever we relate to other people, we relate to an image. We are unable to do differently. Okay. So when I see you, I think I'm seeing you. But I see you through the image I have of you. And what happens is that when I'm going to meet you again after 1 week, who I think I will meet? The same person or someone different? Because I've changed. The same person. And what happens if I meet you again and you do not correspond with the image I have of you? You are wrong. What happened to you? How come you are like this? You are not supposed to be like that. Why am I not supposed to be like that? Because that's not the image I have of you. Sorry, I didn't know I was a creation of your mind, no? So, it's actually quite simple, but we make such a big fuss with it, too many conflicts. Because we make it a little bit more complicated still, because we have idealized images of people. And when people do not fit in the image we have, we enter into conflict. And then we have idealized images of roles. So I have an idealized image which like boxes of a father, a mother, a sister, a brother, a husband, a wife, a friend, a teacher, whatever. Okay? So I make a little box which I called father. And then I take my father and I put him inside the box. What happened when my father is not fitting anymore in the box with a lot of love and I gave to him? Whose fault it is? The box is not personalized enough, the box is not in the right size, or he is wrong because it's not fitting the box I gave to him. How do we act? He's wrong. You are my father, how can you be like this? You are my mother, my sister, my friend, whatever. You are not supposed to act in this way, you're not supposed to be in that way, because you are supposed to be in that little box which I gave to you with a lot of love. And then I try to say, sorry, but I'm not fitting in the box. And then I say, so you should change. And then we go into conflict. Sometimes we try to make people to fit in the box gently. We talk nicely to them, we try to make them understand that the box was made for them and they need to fit inside the box we gave to them. And we try to make it very nicely and gently. And then we try to see if you go in the box, it's good for you, I'm going to give you something here and there. We try to gain and put in the best way as we can to fit in the box. When we are not able to do like that, then we can start to get a little bit more aggressive. And say, if you don't go into the box, look what's going to happen to you. And then finally we can get up fighting because you are not in the box. Okay? So, it's, how to say in English, tragicomico is tragic and comic at the same time. No? But it's like, the fact is that, how do we make our own suffering less and less conflicts? By taking people out of the boxes. One first step, and very nice exercise to do, is to look at the person without putting the person in any box. You are a human being, first of all, with needs, desires, ignorance, love, wisdom, with all the qualities and defects that you have, you are a human being just as me. Then, by chance, you are my father, you are my friend, you are my husband, wife, or whatever. But first of all, you are a human being. And I just see you as one. First step. Second, I have an image of you, but I need to adapt my image, and not you need to adapt to my image. So one thing to do when we meet someone again after some time, let's update our mental images. I need to have the humility to update the image I have of you, and not want to impose on you the image I have of you. I think it's quite clear, no? If we do this, great part of our suffering in this level is going away. Okay. The fourth type of suffering is basically our mental suffering. Sadness, fear, our defilements that appear just like sort of oracle, just come out of anger, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, arrogance, whatever. Inner fear, inner sadness, instability, and so on. That's our mental suffering. Okay? And this is a little more complicated, so we leave it for now. Okay? The last point, which is the last suffering, which is mental suffering, is the one more complicated to go through. Takes longer time. But in very few words, what Buddha did is that showed us 4 aspects, which is to recognize our suffering in many different levels. These last days in the morning we went through more details about it. Recognize, it's like a diagnosis. Recognize what's the suffering. Recognize what are the causes of the suffering, and mostly we see the conditions as causes, but the causes are internal. Recognize our own ability and potential to get out of suffering and to be truly happy. We can make it. And the 4th point, what to do in order to be happy. And this is called the path. And the path is basically divided into 3 parts. To develop love towards ourselves, to develop love towards others, and to have a correct view of reality. To have love towards ourselves is to cultivate what is good for us and to abandon what is harmful to us. Physically, verbally, mentally. Whatever I feel, any action of body that I know that is bad for me, I should abandon. Anything that I know that is good, I should cultivate. Any action of speech that I know that is harmful, I should abandon. Any way of using my speech that I know that is positive and beneficial, I should cultivate. Any aspect of my mind that I see that is harmful, I should abandon. Any aspect of my mind that I see that is positive, I should cultivate. This means to love myself, to put into practice love towards myself. And it's not something obvious. It takes time. Huh? This is one of the main first step in Buddhism. Second step, love others. Open our heart towards others. In the same way how I love myself, I open my mind, I open my heart towards other people. And going somehow to the essence, the reason somehow is like, even selfishly speaking, it's better to be altruistic. When we truly open ourselves for others, it gives such a state of joy and satisfaction. It gives such a level of happiness that no other can be compared with it. And it's a very important part in our path to truly love others, to truly make no more difference between what I want for myself and I want for the whole. So to see the whole as important as the I. The I and the all to be important in the same way. No more difference between one and the other. It takes time, but it's important. As the more we are able to open our heart, the more happiness we get from it. So first, love ourselves. Second, love others. Third, develop a correct view of reality. A correct view of reality means to experience reality, in very few words, to experience reality in a coherent way for what reality is. For example, making it very simple, one very basic aspect. We live in a permanent or impermanent world. things around us are permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, right? But can we suffer when things change? Yes. How do things appear to us? As being permanent. Even though intellectually we know they are not. And we grasp at things as if they were permanent. That's ignorance. If we relate to impermanent things as being impermanent, that's a wisdom. Simple as that. We don't need to go to look for wisdom far away. Just be coherent with reality. That's all. It's not so simple, but actually it is. So, the basis of the path, if we ask what is Buddhism? Love yourself, love others, have a correct view of reality. Relate to be coherent with reality. And then there are many methods in order to help us to develop this. Meditation, philosophy, and so on. Okay? Just to conclude. In essence, for me, Buddhism is the path. There are many methods, and we can see as many mandalas that we can see here. Each mandala actually represents a different meditation practice in order to reach the state of Buddhahood. But if we look to all the mandalas, they are so different, but on the basis they have, most of them, they have the 5 colors. Which means you can have so many different methods, but on the basis what is there? Develop wisdom, satisfaction, love, generosity, humility, rejoicing. Eliminate ignorance, insatisfaction, hatred, and so on. What we have been talking about. That's what is the basis of all. It's on the basis of every mandala, every practice. That's the main objective that is there. So if we ask what is Buddhism about? Love yourself, love others, live coherently with reality. So where do we start? Don't need to go to look far away. Just check. What do I know that is beneficial for me and I need to cultivate? One thing. What do I know that is harmful to me and I need to abandon? Just follow it. First step. Second step, look at others. Third step, be coherent with reality. But this is what it's basically all about.